very happy to have you here.
I'm really grateful that you invited me.
Now, before you were a senator, you were a mayor.
I was.
And I would imagine that once you become a senator, all of a sudden the breadth of what you need to know gets so much larger. For example, a mayor of Newark doesn't need to know foreign policy.
I had a lot of problems with my International House of Pancakes. So
yeah, exactly.
I did.
And so what was it like when you first had to sort of undertake the learning about things that are so important?
I mean, even before I got to the office, I called around from literally active generals to foreign policy experts, but it's never like the first time you have to deal with a real issue. And I'll never forget the first time I was invited to the Situation Room. It was the Vice President Biden was meeting with us, and I was so awkward. I think it was my first days literally there, and I'm excited. I still can't believe I'm here.
Yeah, you're a senator now. You're in the Situation Room. That's a big deal.
It is a big deal. My mom always says behind every successful child is an astonished parent. And this is one of the moments I'm astonished. I'm sitting there, and the vice president is ridiculously late, and we're all just sitting there awkwardly. And it was one of the best moments for me because there's Al Franken, and one of our other Senate colleagues asked him, well, who was ever the worst guest on Saturday Night Live? And before you know it, here I am, sort of awkward, sitting there, intense and ready. And Al Franken, who is one of the more brilliant senators in the United States Senate, he's incredibly talented, gifted.
Yeah.
But he is also wickedly funny.
Yeah, he likes to tell a story too.
He had me literally fighting back the tears, laughing so hard as I'm sitting there, and then the vice president comes in and we get going. But look, it is regardless of what you think about partisan politics, whatever. Walking onto that Senate floor, especially for me, most Americans don't know, we haven't had that many African Americans that have served in the Senate. I'm the 4th African American popularly elected to the United States Senate. So I never lose my sense of gratitude to New Jersey, nor my sense of history of what it means to walk on that floor every day that I do.
You obviously walk on that floor with colleagues on both sides of the aisle. We mentioned earlier in the show, one of your colleagues, Senator Bob Corker, he is retiring. And it seems like when senators retire, don't take this personally, they get a little bit more honest. And so he used this opportunity to say that Donald Trump, is adult daycare, requiring of adult daycare, that he might be starting World War III. When you hear those comments, do you sort of nod your head and say, oh, that's what we are thinking on this side of the aisle, or are you sort of shocked that it's even happening?
Well, first of all, this isn't new this is one of the worst kept secrets in Washington that Republicans and Democrats are very worried about the person that's sitting in the White House. And literally during the confirmation, I voted against most of Donald Trump's appointees, from, Jeff Sessions, Pruitt, DeVos. These are people that had me really concerned, but you got a guy like General Mattis and the conversations surrounding that, where let's make sure we put the Secretary of Defense, somebody that we can all rely on to try to be a bulwark, a wall between Donald Trump and disaster.
It seems that's an unfair thing to ask of the people that keep getting mentioned as the ones who are supposed to save us from danger, because it seems like being the Secretary of Defense or the Secretary of State, those jobs are hard enough without also having to keep an eye on the president not ruining everything all the time.
Look, and obviously this is a comedy show, but this really
sometimes
on a good night, on a good night. But I'm very concerned right now. I mean, we have crises all over the planet Earth, serious things. We've lost some soldiers last week in Niger, and there are hot spots from Ukraine to Syria to Nigeria. I mean, you can go through the challenges, and we're in a really bad spot. Not only have we had our Secretary of State, who should be the leader of diplomacy, but you have an administration who has been savagely cutting diplomacy, even just funding the kind of things that help keep regions stable. Donald Trump's willingness to speak in a manner about nuclear war that is, to me, terrifying, frankly, about the consequences of someone who decides to conduct foreign policy that way. I'm on the Foreign Relations Committee with Senator Corker. I've been grateful for Senator Corker's leadership in trying to keep us together in a bipartisan way to push back against the White House. So we have work to do. This is a very serious reality, especially with the important role the United States has been playing in stabilizing regions with high instability, in dealing with global terrorism. We've been a very good leader, and right now it seems we're pulling back and operating in a manner that has our allies. I just recently met with some ambassadors from various countries that we're allied with. This is a very perilous time, and all Americans not just should be joking about it, but we should be concerned we're in the state we are. And I don't think patriotism, right? I would like to see people on both sides of the aisle not just talking about this. I think we all need to be doing more about this.